Hello everyone. Do you find yourself spamming VGS and blaming teammates when you get ganked? Well, watch this video and let me tell you why you are wrong. And in fact, getting ganked is the best thing that can happen to your team. Sort of. I'm Gold, and as part of my ongoing series on guides to help players get to grips with Smite, here is my breakdown on ganking and why a huge proportion of the player base look at ganks in completely the wrong way. So, what is a gank? Well, in effect, it's something that happens in the early to mid stages of a conquest game that involves the enemy making their way over to your lane with the hopes of getting a kill. This is most of the time performed by the enemy jungler, as ganking is their main purpose, but it can involve any member of the enemy team. It's unfortunately a huge source of both toxicity and frustration in matches, as people rage at their teammates for not calling out enemy missing or following the gank themselves, or they just rage at their own jungler for not ganking their lane at the exact moment that they want it. But it should come as no surprise that most of the community is wrong in their attitude regarding this. When I'm playing Smite, the sight of the enemy jungler appearing as my lane is not always a bad thing. In fact, most of the time I'm happy to see this, and this is why. Ganking a lane uses up one of the most important resources in a game of conquest. No, not mana or gold, time. Time means farm, farm means gold, farm means items, and farm means an XP lead over the enemy team. Ganking a lane is a time commitment from the enemy, and it exposes their position on the map for your entire team, and most importantly, your jungler. Knowledge is power in Smite, and knowing the position of any member of the enemy team is priceless, especially the enemy jungler. For example, if you know that the enemy jungler is in solo lane, then every other member of the team should recognise that they have a window to safely engage, jungle farm, or even counter gank themselves. This of course makes communication vitally important, but as we all know, not everyone communicates all or even any of the time, so you have to take it upon yourself to be aware of it. You should be looking at the map every 5 seconds anyway, so really you should be spotting the enemy jungler whenever they pass through one of the lanes, and also be aware of one of the enemies when they're missing. It's a harsh reality that you don't need teammates to call missing. You can see it for yourself. Now of course, the objective of a gank is to get a kill, which puts the enemy in base for a while and gives you time to farm your section of the map, apply some tower pressure or take an objective. So when a gank is successful, make sure that you capitalise on it. But what about when a gank isn't successful? Well, that's what this whole video is about. An unsuccessful gank is just as good for your team as a successful one for the opponent. As mentioned before, ganks take time, time equals farm. If the enemy jungler appears in your lane, spends 10 to 15 seconds trying to kill you, and leaves empty-handed, what you've just done is make them split minion farm with their lane ally, expose them on the map, and your entire enemy team knows where they are. And you've opened a window for your team to respond. If you are playing jungle and you know where the enemy jungler is, then take everything on the opposite side of the map, gank the opposing lane, counter gank, whatever. You have an opportunity now, it's time to use it. So it's safe to say that you want enemy ganks to fail, which sounds like an obvious thing to say, right? But based on how I see huge parts of this player base play, you'd be tricked into thinking otherwise. So let's review how we defend this and how we make the enemy waste their time. The first one is obvious, ward, but ward correctly. I see so many people place wards here, which is letting you know of impending ganks when it's likely too late. Ensure that you ward correctly, catch the rotations early, and place them in hotspots around the jungle where you will catch multiple avenues. You'll never catch every gank if the enemy jungler is smart, but increase your chances by covering as much as you can with one ward. The next defense mechanism is your own positioning and awareness, and this is a big one. Imagine that there is a line here that dissects the map in two. Call this the line of engagement. When you're behind this line with full ward vision from the jungle, you are protected and in a strong position to defend from a gank. This is when you want to be ganked, but good junglers won't engage you in this situation. Crossing the line of engagement is when you step into dangerous territory, especially if you don't have any ward vision, either deep or shallow into the jungle. It's time for a reality check for a huge part of the community. If you get ganked in this position, it's nobody's fault but your own. So save the toxic spam for someone not calling a rotation. But anyway, back on topic. While in this position, it's like bait to a shark. The enemy jungler should be noticing this. So the second you step over it, assume a timer has started above your head for them to appear. But this can absolutely be to your advantage. If the jungle is warded and you spot the gank early, you can bait them over here and retreat at the right time to your tower and see the frustration on their face as they realise they've wasted their time coming over here. Finally, there is one last trick to spotting an impending gank, because wards aren't foolproof and nor do they last forever. So a small trick to watch is the behaviour of your lane opponent. If they have been passive for large parts of the fight and then suddenly they start being aggressive, the likelihood is that a gank is coming. Similarly, are they spam laughing and starting to retreat in the middle of the lane? Well, they may be baiting you to attack and overextend, so think about it and assess the situation. And finally, has your opponent been missing for a long time? They may be ganking another lane or taking a nearby objective, so now it's time to counter by either following the gank or just be aggressive into the jungle. Once you follow these tips for a couple of games, it will start to become second nature to you. And I can almost guarantee you will not only die less from ganks, but you will also recognise bad ones for what they are, a mistake from the enemy that you can punish. And that brings the video to a close. I hope it's helped, and I hope it's changed your opinion on ganks, and something that causes quite a bit of toxicity in the community. Always remember, watch that map. I've been Caragold. Follow my channel for more Smite content, follow my Twitch for live streams including coaching, and follow my Twitter for updates on everything. Good luck out there.